Alrighty, welcome back to the podcast.
I don't think she's recording.
Yeah, I am.
I see red lights across the board.
I see it now. Okay, you don't even know which one you're looking at.
Sure I do.
Really?
It's that little one over there.
Yeah.
That's not what he was looking at.
It was too.
All four of these ones.
Yeah, it's all right.
What?
They're all on.
Red lights across the board, but I can see the little red.
Yeah, the little one. Right? I don't know what this one's for. I don't know what that does.
Well, not the corners.
These ones are on, but these are like sound effects.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know what that little one
We
is.
need a laugh. We need a laugh track.
There's an applause on here. I think you can like set it. I don't know how to set it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't set with a laugh track. There's nothing to
I need a laugh track.
laugh at, and there's
Golf
nothing
clap.
to applaud.
Lost your mind. I'm hilarious.
So we're going to continue on with our story of Abraham. We're just trying to pick out the most well-known stories, I guess, and talk about those.
Yeah.
We talked about the Abraham's test, which if you think about Abraham, the testing, that's kind of those two go hand in hand.
I was going to say that's one of the major stories with Abraham because it was a big deal.
Yep. And now we're getting down to the end of Abraham's life. Isaac's all grown up. He's fixing to turn everything over to Isaac. There's a few things that happen in there, but one of the things Abraham wants to do is he wants to get Isaac a wife.
Does.
Which I don't know how most married people do it, but this was not the way that my wife and I met. Okay, I didn't have a servant go down to another country, find one for me, and bring it back.
I'll say your dad would have had to send out the servant.
Oh, right, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting, and at the end of it, it does say that Isaac loved her. Mm-hmm. So it really is a love story, and it's an interesting love story, and you can definitely tell God is all over it. But there's a lot of weird things that I still don't understand, especially just for the times that it was in.
Fair.
So Abraham wants to get Isaac a wife from his home country.
Yep.
Abraham's home country.
Correct.
So he says, I want you. So he finds his most senior servant. I'm guessing that's the one he trusted the most. Said, I got a job for you. Now, if I was his servant, I would have said no. Nope, not doing it.
That's too much pressure.
Nope, not doing it. So he says, you have to go back, find a wife, and bring her back. You're not allowed to take Isaac with you back to that land. I think that has to do with the fact that God had given him this land, and he wanted Isaac to stay there. He didn't want Isaac to get stuck back in the land they came from.
That makes sense.
Okay, so at least that's the way it plays out in my mind.
Right.
So Abraham makes this guy swear an oath to him. You're going to go do this. The only way you're released from this oath is if she says no and won't return with you. Okay. Off the servant goes.
Ole.
Yep. He's got his camels, got his servants, and away he goes. So he shows up at a well. When he gets there, I can't remember the name of the place. It's probably some name I can't pronounce. But he gets there.
That's just an easy guess.
That's an easy guess.
Probably some name I can't pronounce. And he winds up meeting a girl that is a daughter. If I'm understanding this correctly, it's Abraham's brother.
Well,
I don't know.
Abraham's brother's daughter, but yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
A daughter. You just.
That's what I just said,
That's
right?
what you just said.
Yeah.
All I heard is Abraham's brother.
No, it was the daughter of Abraham's brother.
Didn't hear the daughter part.
I was having a discussion before that makes them cousins, which once again, I don't understand this whole thing, because if you continue on the story with Jacob also marries his cousins.
Yep.
And I say cousins because he married two of them.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that in a minute. We'll
Future
get to that
episodes.
a little bit later. Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
actually, hold on. I got it right here in the commentaries. How was Rebekah related to Isaac? Rebekah was the grand niece of Isaac's father, Abraham.
So you were correct. Okay. So distant cousins, I guess, but cousins nonetheless.
Still, yeah.
Which, like I said, is still just
Kind of normal for that time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
normal, but I still find it interesting in the whole grand scheme of things.
Right.
Why is it that he managed to wind up on that person's front doorstep looking for a wife? You know what I'm saying? So anyway, the servant asked God for a sign. He says, if when the ladies come out, because there's a certain time of day when all the ladies came out to get water from the well. Mm-hmm. When that happens, if the one that I talk to says, yes, you can have a drink of water, and then I'll feed your camels too, that's how he'll know that's the one.
That's a lot of work. Because he had 10 camels, and camels drink a lot.
And I think that was part of it.
Yeah, that was a lot of work to offer him a drink, but then to be like, oh, I'll also give your 10 camels enough water.
Yep.
Like,
Smart call by the servant, though, to get God involved here. Just saying.
Well,
that's something that kind of gets...
I don't know how to find
this is the only way this is going to work.
Something that kind of gets glossed over in this story. It was like, the servant could have just went in there on his own and like,
anyone want to get married here? Or
anybody looking for a husband? Going once, going twice.
I promise he's great. He's not here, but...
He's not here. No, he'll never come here. It's a whole thing. Don't get me going.
So, as the story progresses, she comes out. And I think it says that she's very beautiful.
Yep.
Yeah. And so he asked her the question. Of course, she says, yes, I'll give you some water and then water your camels. And then the story progresses. And so he asks her if she has a place where he can stay for the night with his camels and everything. And apparently, it sounds like she comes from a semi-wealthy family. I mean, I wouldn't think she's like the upper class, but they definitely had enough room to put the camels, and they had feed and stuff like that. So, and then of course, we also meet Laban, the brother, which I guess he's kind of running the show at that point. We get to learn more about him later on too, but he runs out, meets him. Long story short, it's time for the servant to leave, and he asks once again if Rebekah will go with him. Now the family's like, no, you can't take her yet. Give us 10 days. And he's like, no, you need to understand. I need to head back. Mm-hmm. And so they bring Rebekah in, and they say what? And give her the choice of whether she wants to stay or go. And she decides to go. Okay, so to me, this is just, the whole story plays out, it's just interesting to me. Because first of all, you have, and like I said, it has to do mostly with God.
Always.
God's moving things around. Because, I mean, and maybe that was something that was a little more normal back then, but to go and to marry someone sight unseen, I definitely have...
Before we even get to that part, some guy shows up to your village with some camels and says, hey, there's this guy a few towns over looking for a wife. You want to come?
It's not even the guy getting married.
Yeah, you want to come with me?
Yeah. But I think she saw, because he gave her a nose ring and some bracelets.
Yes.
And so I think that was a sign to her that whoever has some money.
Right. It was more just saying like, hey, random guy shows up.
Yeah.
That's something that if that happened today, you would say, you're crazy.
Yeah.
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 Just saying.
Yeah. But the guy does have 10 camels. He gave me bracelets and a nose ring. And I don't quite understand the nose ring either. I'll have to do some more...
Also, it came up in the...
research on that one, but I thought that was just interesting.
Commentaries here. Hold on. Fun fact time. How many gallons do you think 10 thirsty camels would drink?
How many gallons?
Yes. That's what the commentary has it listed.
How many gallons does 10 thirsty camels drink? I'm going to go 125.
Okay.
I was thinking more. 250.
Cheater.
Oh, man.
250 on the dot.
I didn't even read it.
Darn it.
Yep, can drink almost 250 gallons.
That's a lot of water. So she had to go
and she
draw
offered
the
to
water.
Do it. He never even asked.
So and that was probably
250 gallons.
That was probably what, a 5-gallon jug she probably had.
That she had to get to the well.
Think about carrying more than 5 gallons.
Yeah.
5 gallons of water is heavy.
Yeah. It's just been ripped.
That's a 5-gallon. Think about a 5-gallon bucket full of water.
And didn't they used to carry it on their heads, or am I just imagining that?
No, they did. They still do in a lot of remote tribes. I taught my history class.
Imagine the neck those women have.
Yeah.
Well, it's easier. We watched there's a whole ed puzzle on it. It's easier. It's tougher, obviously, to get it up onto your head. But since you're going to walk that far, once it's there, it's the easiest way to
well, I'm sure they have
carry the
reasons
load.
for it. I mean, I figured that's why.
Mm-hmm. Women are smart. You figure things out.
It's fact.
Usually. So
didn't figure out an aqueduct to just get the water to their town. Shout out the Romans, but yeah.
But she says yes, and she goes back with the servant, and out on the way, she sees Isaac out in the field and asks who that is, and the servant answers, "That's my master."
It'd be funny if it was like, "That's just some random guy."
That's my son.
Yeah.
That's not your husband.
Not who you're here for.
And So she took her veil and covered herself. Then the servant told Isaac all he had done. Isaac brought her into the tent of his mother Sarah. He married Rebekah, and she became his wife. He loved her, and Isaac was comforted after his mother's death.
I think Isaac knew this was all happening before.
I've no idea.
Like when the servant was gone.
Which
like was he ever let in on it?
Maybe Abraham gave him like a heads up.
Like just so you know, a wife's coming. Probably.
Clean yourself up.
And it was amazing from Isaac's perspective that he went along with it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and
Sure.
Rebekah,
But
the fact
arranged-
they asked her, that never happened.
But I think arranged marriages weren't
uncommon.
Yeah.
Correct.
Now this was a little more arranged.
Yeah.
Because there was no pre-arrangement.
No. Yeah, I mean, shoot, it was hardly arranged. The servant had to arrange it himself.
Yeah.
That guy needs a raise.
That guy needs a raise.
He was the most senior. It says that he was a senior servant. So
he probably wasn't doing a whole lot of actual servant work at that point.
No,
he was probably in charge of all the other servants.
And obviously he had a relationship with the Lord. So he'd been around Abraham enough to know that God was big enough to take care of it. You know what I'm saying?
It's fact.
Still, I would not have wanted that to be put on me.
No. Actually, you know who'd be better for this job, Abraham?
The new guy we
that
just
new
got.
guy over there.
The new guy.
Send him.
And it's just interesting how God works. You can see God working throughout this in this entire story, because you have Rebekah saying yes, you have Isaac saying yes, you have a servant that said yes. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Everything.
A lot of pieces fell into place.
So that, and then the servant was smart enough to ask God, say, hey, if she does this, this will be the one.
Literally trying to find a needle in a haystack here.
Yep.
God, please help.
Yep. And God did it. God brought it all together.
Absolutely.
And he brought back Isaac a wife. And it seemed like they had a pretty good relationship. They have their ups and downs, same as everybody else. Especially when they have Jacob and Esau.
Yeah. That leads to some problems.
It does. Just don't have any favorites. It just doesn't turn out. You know what I'm saying?
Way to go, Jacob.
Should we blame Jacob for that?
I don't know.
I don't know who you blame for that.
Jacob was Rebekah's favorite.
I know, but is that his fault?
Esau was Isaac's.
Mama's boy.
Is it their fault?
I'm blaming Jacob because he was the mama's boy.
Okay.
It does. I'm not gonna lie. It does seem like that because he was more of the stay-at-home cooking that type one.
He was baking cookies.
Yeah. When Esau was out hunting.
Esau and Isaac are out setting fence posts and hunting, doing the actual work. Jake was back home. We got your cookies done.
But then it's a sad story because which one does God choose? God chooses Jacob. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
That's right.
So apparently, and I don't know. It'll be interesting when you get to heaven to be able to talk to God about some of this. Why'd you choose Jacob over Esau?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Esau didn't seem like a bad person.
No.
VHS tapes in.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Oh, the first time I put one in that hasn't been rewound, I'm losing my mind.
It says, be kind, rewind.
It's on the tape.
Anyway, once again, just a story to encourage us to trust in the Lord. And if He does give you a mission that seems something that you can't accomplish, just understand and realize that if you let God take part in that, it'll all turn out all right.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? He can do it, and God's got a plan above our own.
Always.
You know what I'm saying? And He will put the pieces together to make it work. He wanted Isaac and Rebekah to come together for whatever reason it was, and that was good enough.
Yep.
So anyway,
Exactly.
these stories are just amazing to me. I just like the way that God works in the background to make it all work, and then they're just interesting to see.
Yeah.
Then God uses normal people. I see that too. There's nothing special
Always
about
has.
these people. God just uses the people that are there. I hope you guys have a good rest of your week, and we'll talk to you next time.